Good morning, students. Today we read class 10 science chapter 10 gravitation. So we should know what is gravitation. We know that moon goes around the earth. An object when thrown upward, it reaches a certain height and then it starts to fall down. It is said that when Newton was sitting under a tree, an apple falls on him. That made Newton to think about the falling of apple. He thought there exists some force by the earth to attract all other things. And he argued at each point of his argument that if apple is attracted by the earth, then moon also be attracted by the earth. The moon falls towards the earth. Instead of getting up in a straight line, it must be attracted by the earth, but we do not really see the falling of moon. Like when we bind a stone with a thread and make it turn around with a circular path and is uniform speed, certain speed, it changes its direction at every point. The velocity will change and the stone will rotate with some acceleration. The force is reflected. The force that causes this acceleration and keeps the body moving along the circular path is acting towards the center. The force which is acting towards the center is called centripetal force. According to the third law of motion, the apple does attract the earth, but according to second law of motion, for a given force, acceleration is inversely proportional to the mass of the object. The mass of an apple is negligible, small compared to that of the earth. So we do not see the earth moving towards the apple, but we do not see the earth moving towards the apple. Extended the same argument for where the earth do not move towards the moon. In our solar system, all the planets go around the sun. By arguing the same way, we can say that there exists a force between the sun and all the planets. From this above facts, Newton concluded that not only does the earth attract the apple and the moon, but all objects in the universe attract each other. This law is called universal law of gravitation. Every object in the universe attracts every other object with a force which is proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Universal law of gravitation. If two bodies are there, body A and body B, like this body A, this body B, irrespective of their masses, whether they have same mass or different in masses. If the distance between both the bodies are D, D is the distance between the body A and body B, then this body A will apply some force on body B and body B also apply some force on body A. This attractive force is proportional, directly proportional to the product of their masses. Let mass of body A is M, this capital M, and mass of body B is small m. Here, the mass of body is capital, mass of body B is small. According to universal law of gravitation, the force which is applied by the bodies is directly proportional to the product of their masses. That is M into M, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, 1 by this square. This force is directly proportional to the product of masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the bodies. By comparing these two, we get F is proportional to m by d square. This implies F equal to G m by d square. This G is called universal constant. It is the constant of proportionality and is called universal gravitational constant. Now G is universal gravitational constant. Universal gravitational constant. You get F is equal to G m by d square. Next, what the importance of this universal law of gravitation? So if we want to find the value of G, what will be the value of G here? G is equal to F into d square by M into F. F d square by M into F. SI unit of this G can be calculated by substituting the unit of force, distance and mass as Newton meter square per kg square. It is the unit of G is Newton meter square by kg square. Next we will discuss the importance of the universal law of gravitation. First, the force that binds us to the earth is explained by this universal law of gravitation. We all are bound with the earth. It is explained by universal law of gravitation. Second, this law explained about the motion of the moon around the earth, or it explained the motion of the satellites around the planets. Next, it explains about the motion of planets around the sun. Next, it explains about the formation of tides due to moon and the sun. These are the importance of law of gravitation. It explains all these points, all these motion, the motion of moon around the earth, motion of planets around the sun, then formation of tides by the sun and moon, and it explains that how do we bind with the earth. Next we will discuss about free fall. What is free fall? We have learned that earth attracts object towards it. This is due to the gravitational force. Whenever objects fall towards the earth, under this force alone, we say the object are in free fall. If an object falls down without any other forces except the gravitational force, then it is called free fall. During this free falling of the object, there is no change in the direction of motion of the object, but due to the Earth's attraction, there will be a change in magnitude of the velocity. When it comes down, then the velocity of the object will slightly increases. Any change in velocity involves acceleration. So, an acceleration happens when a body moves up or comes down. When it goes up or comes down, slightly acceleration happens there. Whenever an object falls toward the earth, the acceleration is involved. This acceleration is due to the gravitational force of the earth. Therefore, this acceleration is called acceleration due to gravity. Here, acceleration happens by the gravitational force is called acceleration due to gravity. Here, acceleration A becomes equal to G. This G denotes acceleration due to gravity, which is equal to A. When an object goes up or comes down in a straight line, then the acceleration of the object can be written as acceleration due to gravity. When it moves up, the direction of object is opposite to that of the force of gravitation. So it is taken as negative. But when the object comes down, then it moves in the same direction of the gravitation. So it is taken positive. Here the unit of G, unit of acceleration due to gravity is same as that of the acceleration, that is meter per second square. Let a body which is attracted by the earth, where the mass of body be m, mass of a body is m, and mass of earth is m, and distance between that body to earth is d, and distance between them is d. According to second law of motion, F, the force, becomes equal to mass into acceleration, that is m into a. Here, F is equal to m into a. But when a body goes up or comes down, A becomes equal to G. This can be written as m into G. According to second law of motion. Similarly, according to this law of gravitation, F is equal to G m by d square. So when we compare the force, because both forces are same, it is a flat one body to another body. This, so mg is equal to G m by d square. By cancelling the mass of the body from both sides, then we get G is equal to G m by d square. It becomes G m by d square. It is the acceleration due to gravity. That is the product of gravitational constant and mass of earth by between the earth and that of the object. If the body is just near the earth, if the body is just near the earth, then distance between that body and earth becomes equal to radius of earth, that is radius of earth. We can use r in place of t. In that case, g is equal to g m by r square. The earth is not a perfect square, a perfect sphere. As the radius of earth increases from pole to equator, then the value of g becomes greater at the pole as compared to equator. The value of g is not fixed. Since the radius increases when you move from pole to equator, then value of g is greater at pole and it is less at equator. If the distance increases from the center of the earth, then the force will decrease. That's why the value of g also decrease when we move from pole to equator. So how can we find the value of g? By using this relation of the g, that acceleration due to gravity, gravitational constant, mass of earth and radius of earth. If we put the values for g at 6.67 into 10 to the power -11 Newton per meter square. And value of m, that is mass of earth, is 6 into 10 to the power 24. And square of the radius of earth, that is 6.4 into 10 to the power 6. Square. After putting the value of g, m and r square, we get 9.8 meter per second square. This is the value of acceleration due to gravity, which is sometimes taken as 10 meter per second square also. Next, we will discuss about motion of objects under the influence of gravitational force of earth. We know that an object experiences acceleration during free fall. This acceleration experienced by the object is independent of its mass, whether they have less mass or greater mass. It is irrespective of this mass. This means that all objects, hollow or solid, big or small, should fall at the same rate, according to a story that Galileo dropped two different objects from the top of Leaning Tower of Pisa to prove the same things, that all objects will fall with same acceleration. As this acceleration due to gravity is constant near the earth, all the equations for the uniformity accelerated motion of objects become valid, with the acceleration replaced by small g. Next, we will discuss about mass and weight. Mass. What is mass? We know every object has some mass. They contain some mass. Every object has that is made up of some particles. It has some matter in it. The amount of matter which is present in the body is called the mass of the body. The amount of matter present in a body is called its mass. How much matter is present in an object or in a body is called the mass of the body. The unit of mass is kg or gram. Sure, the mass of the body can never be zero. It can never be zero. Mass can never be zero. Mass is constant. It will not change when we bring an object from one place to another place. It will not change. But when we observe about the weight, weight means the amount of force which is attracted by the earth on any object is called weight of the object. It will vary from place to place when the force of attraction is greater then the weight will more. If the force of attraction is less then weight of the object will less. According to the amount of force which is applied depends this amount of force applied on an object explains about the weight of the object. Like if we measure an object in the earth and in the moon, we will get different values. But if we measure the mass of the same object in earth and in moon, we get the same value. Mass will never change, whereas weight will vary from place to place according to the force of attraction. So, if we compare the weight of earth, the weight of any object in earth and weight of that object in moon, then we get the weight in the moon will be 1/6 of that in the earth. If it is observed 36 kg in earth and in moon, we get only 6 kg. It is due to less force of attraction. Weight of the object, that is the force applied on it, the gravitational force applied on the object, which is equal to m into g. This force is the weight of the object, that is m into g. So weight is directly proportional to the mass and weight is directly proportional to acceleration due to gravity. This mass is constant. Mass can never change for any object. So mass is constant, but value of g will vary. So according to the acceleration due to gravity, weight will change. If acceleration due to gravity will increase, then weight of the object will increase. In this way, if we move from pole to equator, then value of G will decrease. When we move from pole to equator, then value of G will decrease. So will decrease. Similarly, when you move from equator to pole, value of G will increase. That causes weight will increase. Next, the weight, if acceleration due to gravity becomes zero, it happens when we bring an object toward the center. At the center, acceleration due to gravity becomes zero. In that place, weight becomes mass into g becomes zero. The weight becomes zero. Next, we will discuss about thrust and pressure. Thrust. When the force acts perpendicularly on a surface, then the force can be set as thrust. Like it is a surface when it acts perpendicularly and force, then this force is said to be thrust. When a force acts perpendicularly on any surface, it is known as thrust. And the thrust for unit area is called pressure. Thrust for unit area is called pressure. Pressure is equal to thrust for unit area. Unit of pressure depends upon the unit of this force and unit of area. Yes, the unit of force is Newton. Units of area is meters. So unit of pressure is Newton per meter square. And in honor of scientist Blaise Pascal, the unit of pressure is also called Pascal, or denoted by P or Pascal, that is P. Next we will discuss pressure in fluids. All liquids and gases, they are said to be fluids, and a solid exerts a pressure on the surface due to the weight. Similarly, fluids have weight. If an object which is in solid form applies some pressure according to its weight, if weight of the object is more, then it will apply more force, because pressure is directly proportional with the force applied and inversely proportional to the area of contact. If force will increase, pressure will increase. This force is the weight of the object. When the weight of the object will increase, pressure will increase. But this pressure is inversely proportional to the area of contact. If area of contact will increase, then pressure will decrease. If area of contact decrease, then pressure will increase. But in case of fluids have some weight and they also exert some pressure on the base and also on the walls of the container in which they are enclosed. This pressure exerted in any confident mass of fluids is transmitted on diminished in all directions. Then we will discuss about buoyancy. The upward force which is exerted by the water or any liquid, that is called upthrust or buoyant force, and this phenomenon is called buoyancy. When you draw water from a well with the help of bucket, you find that the bucket of water is heavier when it is out of the water, but you feel very easy to pull when it is inside the water. It is due to this buoyant force. A type of force always acts in upward direction. It pushes the bucket in upward direction. That's why you feel easy to lift the water when the bucket is inside the water. But when it comes out of the water, we feel difficult because no buoyant force acts on it. This phenomenon is called buoyancy. Next, an iron nail. It sinks in the water, but the sheath made up of iron, very heavier, can float. It will not sink. That is due to this buoyancy. This buoyancy depends upon the area of contact. It depends upon the density of liquid, which pushes any object in upward direction. If the density of any object is less than density of the liquid, then object will float on that liquid. But if the density will be greater than the density of liquid, then the object will sink in that liquid. But in some cases, when we compare two objects made up of same materials, then we need about the buoyancy. If more buoyant force acts on the object, then the object may float in the liquid. In this case, we will discuss about Archimedes' principle. According to Archimedes' principle, when a body is immersed fully or partially in a fluid, it experiences an upward force that is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it. When an object is placed, when it is immersed fully or partially, whether the body is immersed totally or it is immersed half or some fractions, then some liquid will be displaced, some fluid will be displaced by this immersion, and the weight of the fluid displaced by this immersion is equal to the weight decrease inside the fluid of that object. That amount of upward force will be act. What amount of weight of the fluid is displaced, that amount of upward force will be act there. How much amount of upward force will act? That amount of weight will be lost. This Archimedes principle has many applications which is used It is used in the designing of ships and the designing of submarines. It is used in making lactometer, that is used to determine the purity of milk. It is also used in making hydrometer, that is used to determine the density of any liquid. Next we will discuss relative density. It is often convenient to express density of a substance in comparison with that of the water. The term that density of substance when is compared to the density of water is said to be relative density. This relative density is the ratio to that of the density of substance to the density of water. Density of a substance to the density of water. Since it is a ratio to the density of substance and density of water, so it is unitless quantity. For example, the density of gold is 19,300 kg per meter cube, while that of the water is 1000 kg per meter cube. So, the density of given sample of a substance can help to determine the purity. Next, we will do an example how to find relative density. Sir, one example is there. Relative density of silver is 10.8. The density of water is 10 to the power 3 kg per meter cube. We have to find density of silver. What the density of silver? Here, the data is given that relative density of silver and density of water, and we have to find density of silver. First, write the data here. Density of silver, density of water is given as 10 to the power 3 kg per meter, and relative density of silver is 10.8. You know, relative density of silver is density of silver by density of water. Here we will put the values, that relative density of silver and density of water. Relative density of silver, that is 10.8, becomes density of silver by density of water is 10 to the power 3 kg per meter. Now we multiply this 10.8 and 10 to the power 3. You get density of silver. Density of silver becomes equal to 10 to the power 8 into 10.8 into 10 to the power 3 is equal. Density of silver is obtained as 10.8 into 10 to the power 3 kg per meter.